Hi. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sabrina Santa Clara. I am a holistic somatic psychotherapist, spiritual midwife, etc. And there are a lot of practices that I offer to clients, sort of based on what I found to be helpful in my own process. And one of my commitments in the coming years is to offer some of these practices free via YouTube and other media. And so the one I want to talk to about today is practices that we can use for chronic pain and pain in general. So I have a chronic pain condition. I have something called Ehlers-Danlos, which is a genetic disorder, and one of the side effects is pain. Particularly for me, it's joint pain. And there are other practices that I do that help, such as, I use jacuzzis, and when it's really bad, I might use hot packs. And I also use a couple of supplements. So quercetin, which is a reduction it reduces the histamine in the body, which can increase inflammation, which can increase pain. I also use low-dose naltrexone. So if you have chronic pain, you don't know about that, check that out. I also will sometimes use ketamine. And if you have chronic pain, you don't have a pain management doctor, highly recommend that you look for one, because pain management doctors are really educated into ways and supplements that we can use to navigate pain and hopefully reduce it a little bit. You can also work with a naturopath. You can also work with a functional medicine doctor. And that's the one that, helped me to get clear on the histamine and some other issues that were contributing to my pain. But what I do want to offer, before I actually was diagnosed and before I had all these other supports available to me, I primarily managed my pain via mindfulness practices and massage and some of the other external supports. And so I'm going to give you my sort of 2 cents of what I know about chronic pain. And then at some point, I will lead you into a meditation. We'll put a note below on when the actual meditation begins, so you can skip it if you don't want to hear all the chit chat. So one of the things that I found out in my own experience was that I would occasionally use a benzodiazepine. So something like lorazepam. So the things that are normally given as anti-anxieties. So anti-anxieties are also function as muscle relaxants. And so what I would find is that traditional muscle relaxants and traditional pain relievers didn't do anything for me. They didn't touch me. So over-the-counter or prescription medications. Not only did I not want to take pain medications, I didn't like the way they made me feel. So in this exploration process, one of the things I found was that lorazepam, which was the one that was prescribed by my doctor, would actually decrease the intensity of the pain. It didn't take it away, but it decreased the intensity. And this was at lower doses. So I wasn't, I think it was like 25, it was a really low dose. I don't know if they even prescribe doses that low anymore. But so it wasn't enough to make me feel drugged, but it was enough that it just decreased the intensity. And so one of the things I discovered in that process was that if lorazepam really works as an anti-anxiety and a muscle relaxant, it's actually not a pain reliever. So what that told me is that my level of pain was influenced by the muscular tension I had and the anxiety I had around the pain. And so in Buddhism, we would talk about this as a second arrow, right? So in Buddhism, we talk about the first arrow as the thing that causes us suffering, right? And the second arrow is kind of how we beat ourselves up for it. So let's say, for example, that I have body issues, right? And rather than being compassionate to my body issues and understanding that, of course, I'm a woman in the United States, of course I might have body issues, right? But I'm also a therapist, so I could have this therapist part that judges me for having body issues. So that's what we would call the second arrow. that also exists at the physical level. So let's say that I have chronic pain and I'm in a moment of pain. And of course, I don't want to feel the pain. It's uncomfortable. It hurts, right? So now I have not only the pain, but the resistance to the pain. And so if we can alleviate the resistance to the pain, what we find is that the pain actually reduces. And so that's one of the things I discovered through the process of lorazepam. Like, oh, okay, well, if lorazepam does this, right? If a benzodiazepine reduces my pain level, it's doing it via the medium of muscle relaxation and via reducing my anxiety. And so, not that I'm a proponent of using lorazepam, especially if you've got any kind of history around addiction, but one of the tricks is that if you are in a pain cycle and you take lorazepam, a lower dosage, and it reduces your pain level from, let's say, a 7 to a 5, right? Then we know that extra 2 points is what's being added on top of the actual pain. So what it means is that there's actually a lot that we can do to be in a different kind of relationship with our pain, right? And this is not about actually reducing the actual pain itself. It's reducing our relationship to pain, which actually reduces our perception of pain. So, having said that, I'm going to give you a couple little cues, and then we're going to do a little bit of mindfulness practice and meditation practice around working with pain within the body. This is fine for chronic pain or just muscle pain, or any kind of discomfort that you're experiencing. So the first thing is languaging, right? So as soon as we say the word pain, our body responds in a kind of tightening up to it, particularly if we have chronic pain, right? And so what we want to do is shift our languaging. We want to shift our languaging to the experience that we have in our bodies as sensation. So it can be an intense sensation, it can be a mild sensation, but it's sensation. And that automatically reduces some of the resistance and the tightness we have in response to the pain, right? And so as we do this meditation, you'll notice that I'll use that languaging around sensation. And this practice is really about relationship to our pain. So we're going to go ahead and just start the meditation. So the invitation is to begin by finding a place that feels the most comfortable for you, right? And the body place that might feel most comfortable for you. So that might be laying down, it might be sitting. So I am actually sitting on a bed with a back support. So I'm not having to do that kind of meditation practice where I'm having to really use my back muscles to hold me up. I'm actually really well supported, all right? So let's go ahead and take a moment and actually close your eyes. The reason why we close our eyes is so that we can actually go inside and pay attention more to what's happening on the inside, rather than allowing our sort of dominant visual field to take precedence. All right. I'm probably going to close my eyes too, because if I keep my eyes open, I'm going to pay attention to the screen, which is probably not going to be very helpful. So let's just start with actually taking a breath, or 2 or 3 or 5, right? And not trying to do any pranayama or any particular breath pattern, not efforting in the breath. The invitations you can think of is allowing your breath to breathe you. Another concept might be allowing your lungs to get all the air they need. So your lungs know how to do it just right. Your body knows how to do it just right. You can also imagine breathing yourself bigger. So you can imagine that most of us, when we think of ourselves, we think about our field or our us, when we say breathe ourselves bigger, is ending at the skin. And so the invitation is to breathe into the fullness of your physical being. So it's almost like you can imagine your rib cage increasing its circumference and decreasing its circumference on the inhale and the exhale. And we also have an energetic body that can extend out quite far. But the most accessible awareness of it for most of us might be in what we would call our personal space, which for Americans is about arm's width away. So different cultures have a different orientation to personal space. But we can see if you can breathe into not only your physical body, but expand into your energetic space or your physical space. And then becoming aware of your sensations. So the physical sensations in a broader context, so what might feel more expansive and what might feel more contractive. Places in your body that have more aliveness or more deadness or cut-offness. Another way to think of that be as more vibrancy and less vibrancy. Noticing what calls to your attention. And typically what will call to our attention first is the places that are uncomfortable, rather than the places that might actually feel good. And if we orient to these difficult sensations and these intense sensations as really, it's just our body's way of trying to get us to pay attention, to notice. You can orient to that intensity of sensation almost like, like a little kid who wants our attention. They're like, do the mom, and if we don't pay attention, they get louder and screamier, and then they're pulling on our legs and having a temper tantrum. And so this practice is about learning how to pay attention. And becoming aware of the areas that call to your attention, the areas that hold the intense sensation. And it may be that you have one or two areas. It may be that it feels all over. And whichever it is, we're going to apply this practice to whatever the intensity of sensation is. And we begin by coming back to breath. Coming back to expanding into the fullness of our physical being. Coming back into the practice of expanding our breath into the awareness of our personal space. And if it's accessible, see how much you can breathe into your energetic space beyond your personal space. And you feel into the space surrounding you. How far out can you go? How much space can you expand into? And keeping the awareness of the space you're expanding into around you. Bring your awareness into the space above you. And imagine your energy moving into all the way into the heavens or the energetic space above you. And as you reach your energy into the sky or the cosmos or whatever language works for you, imagine that that energy is reaching down as well. So as your energy reaches up, creates an opening for the energy of sky, of cosmos, of sun, of moon, to come down and support you, almost like it's helping in the lifting. And whatever of that is accessible, become aware again of the space around you. So now we have the space around you and the space above you. And now becoming aware of what is below you, whatever you are landed on that is supporting you. If it is a piece of furniture, imagine, and even below that, if you are indoors, there is whatever flooring is there. Beyond that might be space if you were on a second floor. Beyond that is flooring and foundation. And beneath that is earth. This amazing earth that supports every living and non-living thing on this planet. Can certainly support you. So reaching your energy, pouring your energy, letting it drop via gravity deep into the earth, beneath whatever physical structures might be between you and the earth. and deep into the ground, into the soil, into what's beneath that. Offering whatever intense sensations are here into the energy of the earth to support and to transform. And just as with the sky, we can also envision and imagine the energy of the earth rising up to support you as you drop your energy down into the earth. So you become supported from below, from above, and from all surrounding you. And so whatever sensations are here, it is supported in the space around it. And now that we are supported from the space around our physicality, let's bring our attention to the inside of our physicality. So to the places that hold sensation as you breathe. Imagine, if you could, there's the physical breath of air, right, that opens our lungs and expands our body. And then there is the energetic breath, right, the thing that happens as we breathe long and full. Something changes in our experience. Right? That's something that changes. While it's rooted in physiology, changes our energetic state. So there's an energetic component to breath. And so as you inhale the energetic breath, invite that energetic breath into the little microscopic cells of your body, particularly those areas that hold intense sensations. And so as the energetic breath enters into the multitude of cells in your body, it's almost like they plump up just a little bit. It's like each cell becomes a little bit more spacious, hold a little bit more air. And continuing that throughout the places that hold sensation. It's often in the beginning difficult to do this practice at the whole body level. So we begin with one spot. If it's the entire neck that is experience intensity, we might just focus on the root of the neck. And we allow those cells to expand to receive the gift of the energetic breath. And when we're ready, we can move to the next layer up. And we can continue that practice, inviting the breath into the cells to plump them up. So that if we could actually have a camera that could expand, we would actually see our entire physicality at almost like a microscopic level just become a little bit bigger. And as you're orienting towards breathing into the cells of your body, with 5% of your awareness on the awareness that we are still being supported around us, above us, below us. So that there is more space for us to live into. And rather than constraining sensation, we are offering it permission to expand, to spread out. It's almost like if you have food coloring and you put it on a piece of paper, it will be dark. But if you take a drop of food coloring and put it in a bowl of water, it expands. And the color becomes less intense. This is what we're offering with space. Allowing sensation to expand. And you may want to take more time with this. You may be complete. For this practice, we're going to complete for now. And you can take 1 or 2 more full breaths. And if you're ready, opening your eyes and coming back to the room or the place that you're in. I hope this was a helpful practice for you. You know, it's not like you have to, if you're having really intense pain, sometimes it's really hard to go into it. We really just want to avoid it. But I can tell you that this practice has helped me immensely. And so one of the things that you can do is you can titrate the experience, right? If going into your body feels too much, then you just start with expanding out, with the sky and earth and expanding energy. And maybe you titrate that. And if you don't know that word, titration is a word that's often used in the medical field. So let's say if a medicine is effective at 500 milligrams. Titration is you would take the medication at 100 milligrams, allow your body to get used to it, and then maybe you up it to 200 milligrams. So that's the concept of titration, right? So not doing too much at once so it doesn't overwhelm the system. And so if this is too much, you can just start with expanding out, or expanding out and then expanding up, and then expanding down. right? The other addition that you can do is once you're able to create space and the intensity of those sensations decrease, you can then take this to the next level and begin to explore areas of your body that actually might feel good, right? Like right now, I'm noticing a slight little smile on my cheeks, and that actually feels good to have a slight little smile. Or I'm noticing a softness behind my eyes, and that's pleasing for me to have a softness behind my eyes. I'm also noticing a little bit of hunger, and it's not a painful hunger. It's just like, oh, that yummy. I'm excited that I get to eat breakfast now, right? And so, generally speaking, this practice is around doing the opposite of what we normally do, which is avoiding pain, constricting against it, trying to contain it, rather than honoring it as our body's communication system to try and get our attention, to attend. I hope this has been a useful practice. You are always welcome to contact me, send me a little message if you have any questions, or take a note in the comments below. All right. May it be of service. Take good care. Bye-bye.